Welcome back, everybody, to LCK Spring 2017. I am Valdez. With me is LS, as always. We're going to jump into the second match of the night. This is going to be BBQ versus the ROX Tigers. And ROX Tigers, they were looking pretty good the last time they came out here. They brought it to Africa 2-0. And BBQ they're still in that place where they've only beaten the lower-level teams of this league.
Yeah, and the last time, though, that these two teams collided was actually the iconic performance that Mickey showed on the Zed, where they had the 20k gold lead at 24 minutes. And that was the conclusion to their last series. And again, this is 7.5 today, so we might see some more creative stuff come out. And speaking of creative stuff or stuff that is out of the normal, I was looking at Bless's champion pool, even in solo queue recently, and he really needs to change it up a little bit because he has only been playing primarily Kha'Zix and Rek'Sai, and that is definitely far from the norm relative to what we've come to expect in LCK. But we'll get to see if anything new comes out today. We'll see if Ghost maybe wants to show off his Lucian. We did get to see him in the previous series of the night.
Could happen. And we might even see, something like Graves being banned out. We saw that happened in game number 1 of the first series tonight. Anyway, let's jump into pick and ban right now. BBQ on the blue side.
Have to see how this unfolds. Not the traditional Malzahar first ban for BBQ. Lulu instead being taken away. ROX now highlighting Camille. They elect to ban that away. And now Shen being highlighted. They want to take that off of Shy. Mickey making sure that he's hydrated.
Yeah, drinking his magic moju. His magic mid sauce helps him carry.
Graves now being highlighted and banned away by the red side. And I think that this is mostly because the red side has a little bit more freedom now that LeBlanc has been freed up from it, as well as Varus. And so the bans now are a little more unpredictable.
Lots of thought going into BBQ's third ban. Seems like they had 2 ideas and weren't sure about the third. And it is going to be Zyra that gets banned away from Key for game 1.
The final pick, well, the final ban by the ROX Tigers. And then we'll go for the first pick for BBQ. But with Graves having already been banned away, we might finally get to see Bless perhaps pick up Rengar as the first pick for BBQ. And Malzahar actually being banned away potentially by the ROX Tigers. They're highlighting it. Does get banned. Should be a first pick Rengar for BBQ.
That would make sense, and you do see that it is picked up right away. We'll see if they do lock that in. It's kind of funny to see Malzahar not banned on the blue side, but I suppose with 7.5, as we mentioned before, things definitely change up. So ROX had to have known that Rengar was going over, so curious to see what they'll respond with. Will they go with that early Ezreal pick we've been seeing a little bit more? Ezreal support, something like Ezreal Karma is something you see often.
There's the Ezreal hover. And we'll see if they end up locking it in. If they pick the Ezreal Heron with Lulu already banned away, I feel like it would just make sense to take the Karma at this point.
Yeah, wasn't the hardest prediction.
And there it is.
I'm not the prophet yet. Making my way.
Now, if they do choose to lock this in, BBQ should probably just respond.
Ooh.
Oh, well.
Never mind.
Actually gets swapped last second. It's a little bit surprising. BBQ could actually respond here with something like Karma AD carry, if they actually wanted to take that away from the ROX Tigers. Instead, though, getting Rumble right now.
Want to make sure that it doesn't get banned out in the second phase. Something to deal with the Nautilus top. You saw that Nautilus was banned twice by, I believe it was Samsung in the first series, and Samsung, one of the better teams here, maybe identifying that Nautilus is the big guy up in top. Definitely top tier at this point. Highly contested.
see what their next pick is. There's Ghost on the screen. Probably be wise to pick up an AD carry for him right here. You don't want to go into the second ban phase and allow ROX to actually just target AD carries, because with Varus no longer really being an option, that does only leave Jhin, Caitlyn, and Ashe, and you don't want ROX to be able to dictate. Well,
Whoop.
as I say that, they say that that is not going to be the case. And this is a little bit interesting. Varus is weaker on blue than he is on red. He did suffer the nerfs as well.
ROX, after all, they do get to pick up the Karma, as well as getting that earlier Nautilus pick, so not sure if they're the masters of drafting, but it seemed like they got a very strong bot lane and also one of the strongest top laners. They got them in the order that they wanted to make sure nothing got taken away. Now curious to see what will be banned away. Could see some support bans against BBQ if they want to target that.
Well, right now they're hovering Talon. So they're putting focus potentially onto Tempt right now. They do ban it away. ROX's team composition is still very flexible. They can go into a lot of different avenues with whatever their mid lane pick is going to be, and they do have the counter pick available to them. Whereas BBQ, so far, they're extremely combo reliant. And they do have a potentially vulnerable top lane and jungle matchup.
What do you think about the target bans against Mighty Bear? Like a newer jungle in here, and they're not focusing any bans towards Mickey at all.
Yep.
Which Freaka did do. It didn't really help them, but I still feel like when you're going up against ROX, Mickey is definitely one of the shining stars that you want to take champions away from. But BBQ haven't done that at all.
Trying to make sure that they get themselves a good jungler matchup. Brave's already banned away Kha'Zix, probably ban away Elise here maybe as well as the final ban.
Definitely a hard choice. Leaving up something like Syndra for Mickey. You saw he was very strong on that pick. They're going to ban Ahri with 3 seconds to go. Lots of thought going into this pick and ban from both teams.
Ahri pick a little bit surprising. That's a little bit too no theme for ROX Tigers team composition. Wouldn't be something I would expect for them to pick up. And now that probably means that ROX will, yeah, there it is, the Elise. I feel like the second ban by BBQ should have almost always been an Elise. Ahri doesn't really make much sense. There's too many mid lane champions available, and the Ahri doesn't have a theme inside of that team composition when you pair it with the Karma Ezreal and the Nautilus. And it's able to be played around too easily. Because then, what jungler do they really have that is going to complement the Ahri, complement top lane, complement bottom? And there's really not going to be a very easy solution. So, a little bit of a lost opportunity right there. And now Mickey will be guaranteed the counter pick.
Other higher tier junglers that were available were stuff like, you know, the Gragas jungle we've been seeing more of. Even Rek'Sai every once in a while, if we do see a lot of jungle bans. So maybe they could have forced Mighty Bear onto something like that, but as you said, a missed opportunity. Rounding out the BBQ side here, going to go with a Jace pick, potentially Braum.
And they lock that in. So now the ROX Tigers are going to have to decide what they want to pick into the Jace. And Mickey has shown an affinity for just power matchups. And now he is highlighting the Syndra.
Speaking of power.
Gonna take a beater into the Jace, but this does mean that he can itemize with that Hex Drinker early and even the Mercury Treads if he wants to, because of how much magic damage is coming out from the ROX Tigers team composition. So the problem for the ROX Tigers is that with the amount of magic that's on their team comp, a Locket later on into the game, the redemption, magic resistance that BBQ can stack is just going to really hurt the ROX Tigers, and a lot of the pressure is going to be on Songyun to come up with some answer.
Curious to see how the Varus does as well, you know, after the nerfs, as it still has overwhelming, speaking, you know, back in like 7.2, 7.3, the Jace Varus was a very overwhelming kind of composition that just poked you out so much to the point where you just couldn't even stay in lane. And eventually you began to see Varus bans, and Jace kind of fell out of the meta. Tempt really switching up his summoners here a lot. He went from Ghost, which obviously wouldn't be the pick, into Exhaust, into Cleanse. And Mickey actually picking up the Exhaust to deal with the Jace.
So we'll take one last look at the team compositions here. We're heading into match. Rumble, Rengar, Jace, Varus, and Braum for BBQ. Definitely lots of gears available to them with that team composition. Lots of Poke, lots of Siege. They have Disengage, Counter Engage, but I guess is a little bit different. And now on the flip side, ROX Tigers with the Nautilus, Elise, Syndra, Ezreal, and Karma. Very tunneled on getting ahead, and if they don't, then it's going to be all on Ezreal.
Yeah, well, they'll see if they can get ahead with the help of Mickey this time around. So let's make it 2 series in a row, perhaps. Going into game number 1 right now, BBQ versus the ROX Tigers on the Rift.
I can't
that
do
actually
it.
hurt my ears through the headphones.
The discrepancy, though, between the starters and the follow-up was quite noticeable.
Yeah. I don't know who that was. The follow-up of the ROX cheer. Gotta get that guy on the desk. Make him the hype caster.
All right, so here is Shy and Mighty Bear getting ready to possibly start on the Raptor camp. And when we look at all of these lanes, it's going to be extremely difficult for Mighty Bear to find any success in bottom due to that lane dynamic. And most of the pressure should probably come out from mid early on. But the problem is that Tempt is actually running Cleanse. So Mighty Bear might be more inclined to actually just play a more farm-centric style with priority actually top to mid to bottom. We'll see what he does here. Oh, and they don't know that Mighty Bear is actually here. They don't have any intel on it. They might think that he's not starting there. So we'll see how Bless reacts to that. So if Bless thinks that Mighty Bear is starting at blue, could affect his path a little bit. He's going to be on red now. Mighty Bear very far behind, though, in terms of the clear speed, as you can see.
He's still doing Raptors.
Yeah.
Okay, finally he's finished them. Took quite a long time. Tempt taking a good trade here, forcing out an early potion from Mickey. Ooh, even needing that Shock Blast. Doesn't hurt all that much this early on, but you can see Mighty Bear just now finished the red, whereas Bless has started that blue.
Tempt hitting Mickey quite hard and trying to establish some good lane control. He's built himself up a really nice sized minion wave in the event that Mighty Bear would maybe try to do something super early on, but it's not going to be the case right now. Mighty Bear transitions into his blue side jungle, and it's actually going to be Bless who's looking for something to do. I really like how Bless came over. He got his team the Scuttle Crab on the left-hand side, as one of the potential routes, again, did involve Mighty Bear trying to do something in top or mid early on, and that's going to shut that down. And now Bless is actually going to be the one that can go into power farming mode, because he's under actually no obligation anymore to do anything for his team. All he has to do is deflect any of Mighty Bear's attempts to create pressure or ganks, and he's going to be the one that comes out ahead.
And looking at this mid lane match, as we have been for most of the game, Mickey, he was so dominant on the Syndra against the Orianna of Kuro when he went up against Afrika, but now having to deal with a different matchup You can see he's having a lot more trouble. And, you know, you were remarking how they kind of want to ban out the junglers. And maybe they were expecting Mickey to play the Syndra and they had an answer for it in this Jace. So far, it's working out pretty well.
Going well for them. And the other thing about it is that if Mickey gets a lead, he's probably going to feel very comfortable with that champion, as Syndra is one of the best champions in the game at snowballing a lead.
Now, of course, Mickey is still keeping up in the CS. Looks like he missed maybe 1 minion of experience, maybe a little bit more. That's about it. So he's sticking in it. We're taking a look at bot here. Decently even so far. Looks like the Ezreal Karma lane is pushing in, as we've seen them do all night.
And so far, nothing really happening in the early stages of the game. Interestingly enough, by the way, Crazy has the Dark Seal on Rumble, so he's being as greedy as possible with his opening, but it's not going to really be punished by Nautilus. And he's on that blue side Rumble, so able to be a little bit more defensive. Mighty Bear might find himself a cat.
Oh boy, Bless. Face checking that brush. He actually gets ahead in the trade, even with Mighty Bear getting the jump on him. Not respecting the follow-up from Rengar. Mickey was closer there to help out Mighty Bear, so of course Bless had to back off.
A little surprising. Bless's itemization is definitely peculiar. But then also in that trade that we just saw unfold, you can see that it didn't seem to expect that he would get the better end of the trade. I think that he could have pushed it a little bit further, but it's not going to be the end of the world. In the mid lane here, Mickey has a little bit of a CS advantage, but Jace is going to eventually have that Hex Drinker. That's definitely going to change the mid dynamic up a little bit.
I'm going to rely on that item instead of taking the exhaust. More scared about getting stunned, you know, cocooned, stuff like that. Taking that cleanse. Actually, Mickey able to push that one in. Hold that thought. We're going to have a little try here at a gank. Mighty Bear coming down. This is totally unknown. Ghost is going to face check the brush. We might have our first blood here. The exhaust going down onto Ghost. Needs some more follow-up damage. The flash away. Can he actually get away? First blood goes over to Mighty Bear. And Totoro not able to punish. So nice gank there.
Really big pickup for them right now, because this is the lane that they shouldn't have been able to really find any success, and so any sort of pressure that they can get from that lane and accelerate it, get the turret down faster, and open up Songyun and Ki is really big for them. You can see Ghost was also trying to hold his summoners as long as he could, or not go, yeah. Trying to hold his summoners, couldn't quite, went down in the end. Looked like he almost was going to be able to turn it though.
It was close, even with the jump that they were able to get on, because after the Elise burst, there wasn't much else. You can see Ezreal going full farm mode, tier, end call. Saying, okay, we're in this one for the late game. Tempt coming on in, and actually, nice bit of burst onto Mickey.
I really like the boots of Mickey. Some say that that is a very fair item.
Some say.
I've heard stories about this item before. Nice to see it rushed here. And Tempt doing his best to try to shove in the lane, punish Mickey, and get whatever lead he can. He has yet to recall into the Hex Drinker yet. A little bit surprising to see that he hasn't picked that up. Nice attempt by Songyun.
Good try.
Tons of pings going down on the map. Looks like they're trying to hand off blue now to Mickey, but for the most part, the game has been pretty passive across the board. If we look at the CS across all lanes, there's a little bit of a lead in mid and in bottom. But on the flip side, Crazy and Bless have leads over their opponents.
curious about this first dragon. You can see that Mighty Bear is hanging around there, and actually ROX is going to group up. This is spotted, but can they actually go for this? You can see that Bless is going for the blue buff, so they're just going to cede this over to the ROX Tigers. In fact, no response at all, so Mighty Bear just left alone to take it. So it is a Cloud Drake, not the most fantastic, spectacular Drake, but at least they do pick up the first one. The next one will be the Mountain Drake.
Take another I'm getting this is so long ago. The Cocoon went down onto Ghost, and you can see he was really just trying to hold his summoners and see if they could turn it around. They got the passive off onto Mighty Bear, but still just a little bit too much damage, able to turn that around in the end.
Bless making his way through the jungle now. Gets a deep ward in here onto the red. Has that blasting plant. They are looking for someone or something. Blessy is forced to flash away. Actually going over all alone. And that's going to be Thrill of the Hunt used as well on the escape. So blowing a summoner and an ultimate ability. See lots of control wards in the river.
And now, Key moving down to bottom lane. And lanes are going to reset yet again. And without Dragon being up now for a while, the next one will be Mountain Drake, so both teams are going to want to pick that up, but could just enter back into a passive phase outside of whenever Bless has his ultimate available to him. Although Mighty Bear looking to make something happen.
Missing the scout of the weekend. He still has cleanse up, so even if the Cocoon hit, there was no kill potential there. And you can see Mickey even needing a lot of damage on the flip side. Does not have those Sork boots, so it doesn't really have the same amount of magic pen. But will survive for longer, at least, with the Ninja Tabby. Mighty Bear is still here.
Crazy. Maybe looking to roam down. Bless is here as well. Finds Mighty Bear. And right now, it's just basically BBQ wants to open up mid lane as fast as they can. Wow.
Oh boy. He gets bullet, but actually the stun onto both. Actually, I think that was just onto Tempt. Crazy getting locked up as well. But after all, they do not take that mid-tier one.
Looked like that was a little bit of a misplaced equalizer. Not quite as effective as it could have been. But nonetheless, the damage that is done onto the mid-tier 1 turret of the ROX Tigers is quite a lot, and that means that even if Songyun and Key do manage to free themselves up and move into the mid lane, it doesn't mean that they're going to be able to apply pressure and attack Temp's mana whenever he doesn't have blue.
Very even game so far. I mean, only a Cloud Drake going over to the Tigers, and there's a difference of about 100 gold, maybe not even that. Something like 70 gold here. Game one, even with the first blood.
Songyun does have a call, which he will eventually complete. That's going to be a little bit of a picked up almost half, well, a little bit more than half a kill once he does complete that, or a little less than half a kill.
Bless is wrapping around the right side here. As Shy and Mighty Bear just run straight at Crazy. They might not realize how much danger they're in. As Dredge landing the wall, it looks like ROX will get away. But this will be the first blood turret going to BBQ. Actually, Totoro eating some of that gold. Not sure if that was on purpose.
Interesting. Crazy actually teleports down to bottom. He has the equalizer. He wants to prevent that turret from going down. They don't want Songyun to be unlocked via the destruction of their bottom tier 1 turret. There's a 2-level advantage over Songyun, and he does have the items to dish out a ton of damage, as you can see. Wow. Okay, well.
Songyun just surviving down there, has to keep Key around. And now Ghost is heading bottom. Crazy just going to recall and head back top. Who's got the weaker? Mickey gets that Thunderlords. Very low on mana, though. Has the blue available. Seems like he wants to push this wave first.
And right now, all that BBQ really need to do is just make sure that no one gets caught out leading up to this dragon. They're in a fantastic spot. Crazy can just push out this final wave and then actually walk down to dragon. He might actually want to push out one more wave. But if he sticks around in top lane, that would not be the best decision that he could make. Mountain Drake is very important for both of these teams right now. More so for BBQ, as the Tigers are obviously going to want to go for some sort of a Baron burst, and when you have the Varus and Jace able to dissuade that or try to prevent it from happening via their poke, obviously you want the Mountain Drake to be removed so that they can't kill it quicker.
Yeah, well, they are beginning onto that Mountain Drake. Will there be a response? You can see Varus and Braum heading on up. They're going to attempt to steal. Nope. Not even. No arrow over the wall. And Tigers pick up a second dragon.
Yeah. Really bizarre why BBQ are willing to just concede that Drake. You can see that in top lane, Crazy gained nothing from staying up there. He's not going to be able to get any turret damage down. You can't actually poke Shy out. And you're just wasting your time up here. There's really nothing to gain. He could have been rotating down to mid lane, cast an equalizer on Mickey, shove him off the turret, raise mid-tier 1, but instead they're not taking advantage of the map and they're losing out on opportunities. And it's giving the ROX Tigers time to stabilize.
Oh. Speaking of stabilization, it looks like they're going to destabilize things in the bot lane. Coming with a flash exhaust onto Ghost. Key looking to open up this fight. Is there a response here from BBQ? The flash forward from Mighty Bear. Picks up a kill, although looks like Songyun also went down. Eating a little bit too much damage, perhaps. They do get that turret, but they will trade tier 2 in top. So BBQ not getting the worst end of this trade.
No, BBQ actually comes out ahead in this trade. Getting top tier 2 is normally always just a luxury turret. It's not a turret that normally you devote a lot of attention to. It's normally very difficult to capture no matter what side you're on, whether red or blue. And so trading that, going 1-for-1 in a 2v4 is going to be absolutely fantastic. Especially because now it even lets Crazy focus more on mid lane and bottom lane, and he's not going to be locked up in top. We'll take another quick look at the replay. So they teleported down Shy, and you can see that Ghost and Temp did their best to stay alive as long as possible. The flash and the heal coming out, and the turret helping out to the best of his ability.
Songyun was just barely in range of that. This is why he ate like 2 or 3 turret shots, as well as the full burst of everything that the bot lane of BBQ had to offer. So really nice response from them. Next Drake is Infernal, so another big one. It'll definitely be contested by both teams here.
Infernal as well, much more valuable to BBQ's team composition than it is for the ROX Tigers. Extremely strong on that Varus, Jace, Rengar, and on the Rumble, whereas ROX Tigers are only really going to benefit from it on Elise, Syndra, and Ezreal.
All the pings going down. Looked like Totoro wanted to get some action in there. Won't be able to. Just kind of clearing waves, clearing vision at this point in time. Lots of pings going into the red side jungle here of the Tigers. Red being taken right now by Mighty Bear. Key looking to help out. Totoro will see how deep he wants to go on in. He's going to use that shield. Forces the red to refresh there. And in comes the ultimate from Braum. Key getting quite low there. Bless going in for the kill. He will get it. Mickey coming on in, though, flashes with that unleashed power. Now Bless going a little bit too deep. 2 kills going over the ROX Tigers. Maybe BBQ. No, they can't even get the red. And they do run away from there. So a 2-for-1 in favor of the Tigers.
Yep. Nice pickup and turnaround team fight. BBQ going a little bit too aggressive. And now, with Dragon coming up in 2 minutes, we'll see which team is in position to capture that. Crazy does have teleport up, but Shy's going to have it up as well. Baron is on the field now. And right now, all that the ROX Tigers need to do is wait for that Dragon, not take any fight needlessly. We'll take another quick look at the replay here. So the Cocoon blocking up a little bit. Totoro came back in, whiffed his ultimate. Bless able to take down Key with the assistance of Tempt. But then he ends up getting locked up in the background by Shy. He goes down. Mickey was able to pick up the kill on Totoro with his ultimate.
Yeah. That point and click, he just had enough spheres. He's like, okay, that guy's dead. Nothing he can do. And again, this becomes a even game in terms of gold. Only 500 head right now is BBQ. But again, the Tigers do have those 2 Drakes. Another one coming up in 40 seconds. It looks like this time maybe BBQ wants to really focus on this. Bless hanging around with Ghost and Totoro, looking perhaps for a pick bot lane.
Roaming bot trying to get some sort of vision control down. It's very important. Dragon's only in 20 seconds. Ghost will actually have the red buff persist through when Dragon is on the map, so that's going to be a nice little edge that he has in a team fight. Mickey's blue should also still be sticking around. Tempt as well.
Looking for some damage there. Just locking down Totoro. Oh, the flash forward onto Tempt. They really want him. Everything on top of him, even an exhaust, but not quite able to get it. Mickey goes down, and it looks like maybe ROX went 2 overboard with that engage. A double kill going to Ghost at the end of this, and 3 members of ROX do fall. Meanwhile, it looks like ROX is going to pick up the scraps as BBQ heads towards the Baron. Yeah,
ROX are going to actually be able to pick up the Infernal Drake, but they're going to lose Baron for sure.
Totoro's got to get in there and tank.
Yeah. They're getting in there. They pick up the Infernal Drake. It's a nice little pickup as long as they can weather the storm that's coming from the Baron buff. They'll be in a relatively okay spot, even though they did fall down considerably in gold. So we'll see what happens now in the next few moments. And that team fight was a byproduct of the team compositions that I talked about earlier, that you have too much magic damage. So when we look at this team fight, they lock up Totoro, and then Shy comes over the wall with his ultimate, and everything gets unloaded onto Tempt. But he's too tanky against the magic resistance relative to the items that the Tigers have right now. And so it's just too much of a commitment onto a champion they can't really bring down. And even if they did, it still would have ended very similarly. Yeah. And then it probably would have just meant that BBQ takes the Infernal Drake instead of going to the Baron, but they'd still be in a better position than the Tigers are now.
For sure. You can see it was a really nice angle that Crazy came at as well, just locking up Key and Mickey in the back, saying, okay, you have to deal with me, and they couldn't even deal with him. Crazy really going off, even though he doesn't have any kills, currently has the most CS in the game and 3 assists. Now on to very important items, pushing the bot lane with that Baron buff, the rest of BBQ hanging around mid.
So Ghost and Tempt are going to have to keep up the pressure. Crazy dropped the ball in bottom. I mean, he has the equalizer and teleport. and yet he let the Baron-empowered minions die. You can see how far away the next wave is. They're looking for something with Equalizer.
ROX has to be so careful here. There's the Equalizer. Mickey eats it down to half health or below it. They're pushing on in, but Shy still wants to. He grabs Ghost here. Huge engage. And uh-oh, BBQ on the run now. 2 members going to go down, and that is not the engage that BBQ was looking for.
Yeah, that was a very weird posture by them, and the way that they were holding that turtle in front of the turret was a little bit bizarre. And them trying to rush it down and move a little bit too quickly ends up meaning that ROX punishes their mispositioning. And now they're turning the tides in this game. And they've all but closed the gold gap, and I think that they did manage to weather the storm quite well of the Baron, and so that Infernal Drake paying off in the end.
Shy with a huge dredge line onto Ghost. Really leaves you questioning, you know, Ghost up in the front lines. I don't think he should be there, especially when you have a decent, actually a pretty healthy front line in the form of Bless, Totoro. Even Tempted Crazy should be ahead of him. He should be all the way in the back. Meanwhile, Shy is... yeah,
Shy's out of position. They're sending him back to the depths.
Oh boy.
Back to the deep end. But one of the things that's bizarre is it's weird to see Bless itemizing full physical damage when really, I mean, the damage that you have coming out of the Rumble, coming out of the Jace, the Varus, is going to be more than enough. And so the fact that he's not going for the tanky variation of Rengar with a Locket, so that you would have double Locket later on in addition to the Redemption, is a little bit peculiar because they don't need to win a team fight in one fell swoop or one big blow. They just need to sustain the combos from the Tigers, and then they can't keep up.
Well, BBQ continuously pushing this one, even without a wave. Trying to use their poke to siege these turrets. Would definitely help them out, as you said, if they had Infernal and Mountain Drake. With that push, the turret would almost definitely have fallen. Next Drake is going to be Cloud Drake, so not going to be too big of a deal. Here's that fight again.
Yeah, so this team fight is them all just staying up inside of a circle. Yeah, Shy hit that miracle dredge line, and the entire fight turns around. And you can see they just dogged down Totoro right at the very end, and it was just a full-on retreat at that point. Dragon coming up in a minute and a half, or just under a minute and a half. Another Cloud Drake, though, not the most valuable Drake, or exciting for that matter, for both teams. And then shortly to follow will obviously be Baron, and that'll be where the decisive fight takes place.
Lots of members of ROX heading up top. You can see the negative 2,600 gold difference. ROX Tigers winning out, even though BBQ did get the Baron buff. And they're just looking to take out the last tier 1 turret here in the top lane. Thrill of the Hunt coming down. It looks like they really want to get in onto this, but that may be a mistake. The teleport coming behind here. Shy, he can jump on over. He's going to lock up Ghost again. Ghost will get caught on the other side. Mickey's on the run against 3 members. Does get Bola Strike. Attempts to use that unleashed power onto Bless, but he does survive. They trade 1 for 1.
1 for 1 in the end, but Mickey being completely out of position ends up meaning that ROX can't push on and probably capture top tier 2. BBQ going to turn their attention to the Cloud Drake. They want to kill this as fast as possible right now. They want to make sure that the timer doesn't hit 29 minutes so that Elder does not come up next. They want to make sure at least one more dragon spawns, as with the way that the game's going and the fact that Baron won't persist into that, they can't be certain that they would have control over it, and you don't want to give that option to the Tigers, who have that Mountain Drake as well. So the next dragon of the game, yet another Cloud Drake. So Map hates both of these teams.
Would have been interesting to see something like a Mountain Drake or Infernal Drake, and then BBQ maybe come back. I mean, as it stands, the gold is still very even, but the Drake's really helping out Tigers right now. You can see the penetration picked up on the side of Syndra after getting those Ninja Tabby, the Andrews, Morello, and Omicron. Maybe an engage here from BBQ. They're looking. Oh man, Totoro wants blood. There's the equalizer. Mickey up in front again. Oh, and Songin gets caught out there by Baris. Now Mickey being jumped on here by Tempt. Blesh trying to get on in. Still kiting them for so long, but will die. That's two members of ROX Tigers being caught out. Really nice engage by BBQ. Let's see what they want to do now.
Looks like they want to convert it into a Baron. Shy, though, he might be quite obnoxious, although a 5-man redemption heal going to come out.
That's so key. We'll see if they can actually still...
That wasn't
see
key,
Bless. Yeah, you're correct. Bless is super low, so is Totoro. Shy getting on in there, he kills Bless. Looks like Mighty Bear actually goes down, and all of a sudden, okay, they're going to kill two. Can they stop the Baron, though? It doesn't look like it, as it is very, very low. Can he steal it? And, oh, it's pretty close, but not quite as crazy able to take that one. One fan goes absolutely insane in the audience, goes beast mode.
Yeah. One of the ROX Tigers fans going absolutely nuts when Keith shot that. Well, so BBQ yet again with another Baron. We'll take another quick look at this team fight. Shy just goes man mode here, and he goes straight on in, and basically it's balls to the wall. They have to try to stop this Baron. And right at the very end, Shy was actually able to pick himself up another kill with the assistance of Key, but then Key couldn't quite stop this Baron.
It's like spamming his Q. Please.
So now it'll be yet another question of, can the ROX Tigers hold on one more time? We saw before that BBQ weren't the best at this siege, at this song and a dance, and it's possible that the ROX Tigers can find an angle of approach and get on to Ghost again and remove him from the fight. But the problem is that he's the only member that they can really light up instantly.
Even Ghost picking up that Spectral Cowl. And Shy looking for it again. Doesn't find it this time. Double recall from Mighty Bear and Mickey. Want to be full health for this next wave.
We can see again that despite having the Baron buff and stuff, they're being compromised by their lane allocations and how they're choosing to do it. You have that giant wave up in top lane, all those minions, and they're likely to just be suicided because their map movements right now aren't the best in the world. And Crazy was a little bit late to arrive to bottom lane, so these waves are not perfectly in line. You can see Mickey up here, that entire wave, that entire lane just went to waste. And these are some of the weaknesses that BBQ as a team have, that even when they get to the stage, even when they get advantages, they're still giving a lot of wiggle room to their opponents. And it's certainly enabling ROX to still have a fighting chance in this game.
Definitely is. They are still able to pick up 2 tier 2s. So only Inhibitor and Nexus turrets left over for the ROX Tigers. Giving himself a bit of a lead this time after picking up their second Baron. But once that runs out, this game is certainly not over. Although lots of magic resist picked up on the side of BBQ. You were talking about that being a problem as we go very late on into this game. ROX trying to stop this push. It looks like they will be successful. The Baron will run out in about 30 seconds.
And Cloud Drake coming up in about 45 seconds from now. And honestly, either team could just look to capture that immediately. But I do have to say that for a team that has a Jace and a Varus, their ability to force down a turret and lay siege left much to be desired.
Definitely need to work on some of these macro stages of the game. Maybe that will be the source of their practice in between seasons, in between splits. So it looks like BBQ's in a very good position to take this Cloud Drake. Will make their engage a bit better with Double Cloud. Are they even going to go for it? Looks like they were looking for a pick first. Songyun trying to punish Totoro, but he is Braum, so does get away. There's the Cloud Drake started, and ROX is like, okay, you can go for the Cloud Drake. We're going to go mid. And we'll see if this does work out.
It's a very, very big, common mistake in pro play. This is a very simple fork. Every member funnels themselves into Dragon River. You have a minion wave, you escort it into a turret, capture turret, disengage. Happens a lot in pro games.
There's the very clean disengage. Using the redemption. Bless actually might be in a bit of trouble. He gets locked up, and there's the stun. Equalizer is good, but immediately Bless goes down. Crazy now forced to Zonia's early. Chain of Corruption going down onto Mickey, though. Nice Zonia's to survive there right at the end, but he will be followed up with a kill. And now Key going down. Crazy, even though he's low, is putting out that damage. Shy trying to go man mode, but not quite able to. GA going to be procced. Will be able to take him out right away. Crazy, even though he's extremely low.
The real question is, Brendan, what damage? Because the ROX Tigers don't seem to deal damage to all that magic resistance and HP across so many of the members. And it's just so difficult. Look at Varus's itemization, by the way. Phantom Dancer and Banshee's Veil. ROX Tigers, even though they were able to delete Bless so early on into that fight, they couldn't quite muster up a victory. And the game is just reaching a point where, again, they use their combos, they go on cooldown, and then their sustained damage is just not there outside of Ezreal, and he's not a one-man army.
Yeah. Not in this game, especially. Just not farmed enough. Very average at this point. So ROX Tigers really in a not so great situation. They need to get like pick after pick. You know, find one person, disengage, and then try to find another pick, but that's extremely hard to do at this level of play.
Right now, the game isn't over yet. Tigers still have a window back in. They need to take some sort of a miracle fight, maybe use a good flank from Shy here at the Baron that's coming up in 20 seconds. If they can get that, there's an open inhibitor in mid. They have a beautiful bottom lane, and they have a relatively okay top lane, given the fact that Bless is actually going to prematurely shove this back into the Tigers. Never mind, he actually doesn't. So Songyun looks like he's moving up to top to actually tap that and have it bounce into BBQ.
Baron has spawned. Seems like both teams have a decent amount of vision around there, but BBQ has a lot more control, so BBQ will move as a team, clear out all the vision. They're going to be relying on basically just some scrying orbs to go down. They only have one. Uh-oh, Shy is going to be caught out here. Lots of DPS is coming out, but Mickey gets caught in the back, forced to Zonia's early, and he's going to be jumped on, and that is the end of his life. Double kill. 4 attempts. Shy and Mickey just getting caught out there in the middle of the map with no vision.
Now it looks like BBQ, they might even completely ignore capturing Baron. They could look to potentially end it here if they want to be a little bit risky. Although I'm not even sure if it's actually risky with that Braum shield.
Yeah, he's up in front. And even Key just desperately trying to do some damage. And there are some low members of BBQ, but it just doesn't look like it's enough. The repel here from Mighty Bear will be jumped on. Down he goes. And that's going to be it. The ace and the first game going over to the BBQ Olivers.
Eventually, they managed to take down the Nexus, and This was an example of the ROX Tigers losing really hard in draft relative to their ability to play out the early game and what they would have needed to pole vault themselves into the mid and then late to secure the win. BBQ, though, getting tons of advantages at multiple stages of the game, but you saw how difficult it was for them to eventually close it out. A little bit of execution and minion wave manipulation difficulties for them, and if they can clean that up, they're going to look like the pretty strong favorites going into game 2, but obviously they're not going to be able to clean that up in just one game. Tigers might go back to something creative and put Mickey on some sort of an assassin and try to approach the laning that way. Syndra did not seem to work out so well, not with that much magic damage coming from your team.
So, would look to them to definitely change things up. I wouldn't be surprised to see this go into a 3-game series. After that first one, I feel like it was very close, but as you mentioned, you know, the composition problems there for the ROX Tigers. It looks like we're not going to go to any replay. We're just going to go straight to the analyst desk, so we'll be back in 2 minutes with the desk.